My name is David Howden and I'm the author of The Tooth Bearer and its sequel book, The Tooth Bearer and the Masked Clown. It's a lovely September morning and today I thought I would tell you a real fairy story. This one dates back to 1917 when the young 9-year-old Frances Griffith came over to England from South Africa with her mother whilst her dad fought in the First World War to live with her cousin Elsie Wright in the village of Cottingley, which is in Yorkshire. The two girls asked Elsie's father, who was an amateur photographer, if they could borrow his camera, and they ran off into the fields and the becks to take some beautiful photographs. And what did you think they photoed? Fairies. Here's the first one, which features the young Frances and the fairies. It's a lovely photograph. They didn't think much of it at the time. In fact, their father passed it off as pure fakery. However, a few years later, their mother, who was a keen spiritualist, thought that these photos that they had taken held merit and took them along to a local theological society meeting. She had a word with the speaker after the meeting, and he thought the photos were astounding as well. He contacted one Edward Gardner, who was the head of the Theological Society. Edward Gardner published these photos in some various magazines, and it came to the attention of known spiritualist and the very famous author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who you might know as being the creator of the famous detective Sherlock Holmes. He, in turn, thought the photos were fantastic and believable. So he decided, could he publish some more photos in the magazine, which was The Strand, a very famous publication at the time. He contacted the father and said, could I put the photos in? And the father agreed, but would not take any money for them whatsoever. And so the photos ended up being published in the Strand magazine. Edward Gardner persuaded the girls to take some more photos. And here we have a lovely photo of Elsie and the fairy. You see there? These were taken round about 1920. These photos subsequently got published. Arthur Conan Doyle was astounded. And in fact, he contacted the Kodak camera company to test the authenticity of the photos. They came back and said the photos had not been altered whatsoever and were genuine photos. They could not find any fakery in the photos. Half the world believed these photographs, the other half not so. In fact, some people said that because Arthur Conan Doyle had legs, that the two girls were effectively pulling them. Well, years went by, and in the 1980s, the two girls did admit that they had indeed forged the photos. They were amateur artists, and if you get a chance to see any of their artwork, it is beautiful. But at the time, they had this book, which is known as the Princess Mary's Gift Book. And if we turn to a certain page, you'll see pictures very, very similar to those that were used in the very first photograph that they'd taken back in 1917. In fact, several people commented on how the fairies had very Parisian-style outfits. But did it really matter? At the time, World War I was taking place. Many people had lost family. In fact, Arthur Conan Doyle had indeed lost his son in the war. And riding on the coattails of World War I was the greatest pandemic to hit the country and the world, that known as the Spanish flu. So everybody needed something to believe in. Incidentally, the very, very last photo that the girls took was this one here, which is called the sun bath. This one they claimed was true and showed real fairies bathing in the sunlight. The others, of course, they had to use hat pins and cardboard cutouts and displayed them for everyone to see. And the rest, as they say, is history. But was that last photo true? Who knows? Does it really matter? Everybody needed something to believe in at the time. That tale is addressed in my book, The Tooth Bearer and the Masked Clown, available from Amazon now, from the fairies' point of view. Why did the girls go to all this trouble to create such elaborate pictures? Find out in The Tooth Bearer and the Masked Clown, available from Amazon now.